The Getty family story is a fascinating journey of calculated risks, vast wealth, and high-profile controversies, beginning with George Getty's early financial decisions. George Franklin Getty, the patriarch, was a self-made man who laid the financial foundation for his family's fortune. Originally from Ohio, George pursued a career in law and established a successful practice. However, after years of working as a lawyer, he grew restless and decided to seek new opportunities. The early 1900s brought with it the promise of a booming oil industry, and George was quick to recognize the potential wealth it held. In 1903, George took a substantial financial risk and invested his savings into the oil business. At the time, oil was a risky market, filled with high expenses, volatile prices, and no guarantee of success. Yet George saw it as a frontier worth exploring. He left his law practice, moved his family to Oklahoma, and started drilling for oil. His first well, however, was dry, and so were several after that. Many investors might have reconsidered, but George was relentless. He continued drilling, learning from each setback, refining his methods, and studying the patterns of successful wells in the region. His resilience eventually paid off in 1904 when he struck oil in the shallow sands of Oklahoma, a discovery that would yield an immense profit. This well marked the beginning of the Getty Oil Company, and a fortune that would later expand exponentially. George's next critical decision was to reinvest these early profits back into the oil industry, specifically in purchasing oil leases and securing new drilling sites across Oklahoma, and later in California. This was a bold move. Most investors at the time would have been cautious, withdrawing profits to diversify or cash out. Instead, George doubled down, understanding that owning the drilling rights and land leases would grant him control and eliminate the costs and risks associated with leasing from others. By purchasing land and establishing ownership of valuable oil-rich territories, George created a self-sustaining empire in the oil industry, which allowed the Getty family to amass one of the largest privately held fortunes of the time. George's approach to finances was meticulous and conservative. He invested strategically, avoiding unnecessary risks and focusing on ventures that could be sustained over the long term. His approach laid the groundwork for the wealth and success that his son, J. Paul Getty, would later expand upon. J. Paul inherited not just his father's wealth, but his disciplined approach to finance. However, unlike George, J. Paul would go on to take far bolder risks, diversifying the family's assets and transforming the Getty name into a worldwide symbol of both immense wealth and high-profile scandals. By the time of George Getty's death in 1930, he had left behind a powerful legacy and a well-established company, which his son would transform into a global empire. George's early financial decisions, investing heavily in oil, buying land, and sticking with the industry despite initial failures, set the stage for the Getty family's rise to fortune and fame, a story that would later encompass art collections, family feuds, and media attention. Through it all, George Getty's early business acumen remained the bedrock of one of America's most remarkable family dynasties. J. Paul Getty's expansion and diversification of the Getty oil empire propelled the family into legendary status. But the story didn't end with oil. As the Getty wealth continued to grow, J. Paul also became one of the most famous art collectors of the 20th century, acquiring priceless works from around the world. This interest in art led to the establishment of the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, a world-renowned institution housing some of the most impressive collections of European art, manuscripts, and antiquities. Today, the Getty family's legacy is preserved both in their art collections and in the Getty Foundation, which continues to support arts and culture globally. However, the family's fortune is not without controversy. Tales of kidnappings, inheritance battles, and high-profile legal disputes have continued to keep the Getty name in the public eye. In recent years, the family has largely stayed out of the oil business, focusing instead on philanthropy and preserving their cultural legacy. To this day, the Getty name represents a unique combination of vast wealth, high culture, and dramatic family dynamics. For viewers of old money elite, the Getty story offers insight into the power, prestige, and complexity that come with generational wealth. It reminds us that the true legacy of old money is not just in its riches, but in the ability to shape industries, influence culture, and leave a lasting mark on the world. Please subscribe to help us continue exploring the world's most powerful and luxurious dynasties in greater depth.